Hello, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today on Saturday? I can see I'm having internet issues. Hopefully, I'll be all right. So, we'll look at gold and then we'll look at Major League Baseball and look at the picks and everything. So, gold ends at 32.38. We can see not as much dippity doos. A little one at 2. Notice how it's 2 o'clock, it's 6 o'clock, it's 10 o'clock. There's something about on the hour. So if you can get like 15 minutes past, you're okay. And it just went. So from 31.90 all the way up to 32.40. So it goes up $50 since 2 in the morning. Had a good run before midnight. It's just, I believe what's happening is the comex is done. I think there's the gold comex, the silver comex. They're still fucking you. The gold comex, no, they really can't control it. People, what's happening is people see gold different than they see silver. Yeah, it's a little used for defense with the missiles. It's a little used in solar panels. That doesn't really affect the price. It's just the demand's higher by the central banks and the BRICS countries, and the regular banks just see gold as they see the dollar crashing, and so they need gold to stabilize. But they don't need silver. Not that the demand for silver is not there. It's just everything's going to gold, and it will go to silver. But at this point, we're in the gold line, and they just keep buying gold and buying gold. And when it pulls back, the central banks buy more gold. It's just what they do. And that's why you see gold going through the roof. COMEX can't stop it anymore. They're trying to price fix it. It doesn't work, and it's going to cost them too much money because the basically you do the derivative, as I showed you from Eddie Murphy. There's a buy and a sell, so they're selling to drop the price, but everybody who's buying stands for delivery says, I want it. So when the Chinese and the Russians buy on COMEX, you got to give them the gold. You might screw around with me and you, but they're not going to screw around with Russia and China. So they have to deliver it. So they're less apt to short. They did it earlier in the week when it went down to 29.60 or 70. But look at reality. It cranked right back up to 32.38. And I hate when people say it's the all-time high. It's not the all-time high. The all-time high in paper is meaningless, right? It's the all-time high physically that we're looking at, right? And we don't even have a physical price yet. We still don't know what this price is. The demand for gold's here and COMEX is here. We don't know what this is. At least 10 grand, probably 20. But we haven't gotten to physical price yet. We're still this paper derivative bullshit price that they're trying to keep the price down. We don't know what it is. So therefore, when it gets kicked down, it's just like people are buying now, right? 3,200. So when it gets kicked down to 29.60, they're just doubling up. Great. Oh, it's on sale, which is probably why they did it, was to buy it cheaper, right? So when you see a big drop like that, it's to buy it cheaper. Same thing in silver. Now silver is back to 32.28. And here's my point. Silver goes up 4.85%, and everybody's like, oh, silver runs faster than gold, which is true. Gold only ran 2.44. However, gold went up $77, and oh yeah, silver went up $1.50. That's why, even though they try to make it sound like silver runs faster than gold, I'd rather have the $77 than the $1.50. So this will just keep going on. What everybody's missing is the inflation, the printing of the money, making it worthless, not prices. So people are looking at prices. Prices are meaningless. What are you going to do? So if tariffs going to be inflationary, because if you're adding these to tariffs, if you're adding all this 20%, 50%, 100%, of course, the prices will go up. But are they going up because of inflation, or are they going up because of the tariff? So this will be interesting to see what they blame it on. And we know it doesn't freaking matter. It's you printed the money to death, and that's the inflation. And nobody's talking about it. So you can't tariff and raise prices because you've already done it with inflation. And we've already, as I was showing you yesterday, Coke at Kroger's, it's 356 for a 2 liter of Coke, and they can't sell it. And now it's two for $5. So the price actually went down to 250, raising the price to 350. So is that inflationary? Well, which price are we talking about? The 350 or the 250? The prices aren't inflation, but the fact of the matter is that the dollar's worthless. That's the concept that we all need and do understand. And therefore, you go into gold and silver. Right now, the gold's getting more of the headlines because all the central banks are buying tons and tons of gold. Maybe they're buying tons and tons of silver. I know Russia and China and India have started doing that. So we'll see when the rest of the BRICS team shows up if they're going to buy silver. But silver at 32.28 is absolutely steal. I could go to the store today right now and get it for 34.28. He'll have some. It's just a steal. The owner of the store has no idea what's going on. So I just, like I say, I buy it and dance, sing and dance. I'll back out to my car with it. And it's beautiful. No sales, no tax. And I got it in my hands when I leave, so I don't have to wait for shipping or anything like that. So that's really what you have on gold and silver. It's off today. It's off tomorrow till 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. The market closed at 5:15, so about 6 o'clock, it'll come up, and that's where it'll be. And I think China is going to buy the shit out of it. I mean, I think you'll see 30. You could see 3,300 on Monday. The way China's going. Trump, because see, I'm going to read you the depression, and I should have put it in my. I will put it in my title. Well, we'll do that in a minute. Let's go through baseball because I know people want to hear that, as I do. And then we're going to read the depression to show you how these tariffs really screw everything. It's not good. Let's see, baseball. All right. So yesterday I actually did my picks. Let's see how we did. I had Kansas City and Cleveland won 7-0. Why did I take Kansas City? That's a loser. I have Cincinnati. They win 5-3. W. I got Atlanta over 9. Hit 9. So that's a tie. The 49ers over 8. Won 9-1. That was a winner. Baltimore under 8. They got postponed. I had Washington as a 2-unit. They won 7-4. I had Boston over 8, 11-1. I thought Boston would score the 11. How the hell did the White Sox get 11? But we'll take it, as we had that over 8, and they won 11-1 Chicago. I had Houston over 9. They won 14-3, a couple of touchdowns. I had Detroit over 8. They won 7-6 as a winner. Philly over 7.5 for 3 units. I lost. Milwaukee, Arizona, I didn't play. San Diego under 7.5. It was 8-0. I lost. Texas lost to Seattle, amazingly. Oakland under 9.5. That was a Mets won 7-6, and the Dodgers under 8 was a winner. They won 3-0, but we're under 8. So my 3-unit Cincinnati won, my 2-unit Washington won, my 2-unit Boston over 8 won, and I lost Philly under over 7.5. So 3-1 on my picks, plus 4 units if you just look at the units. So not too bad considering we're in April. So what I did is I go into the box scores and I kind of look at who has. I'm basically looking at two things. I'm looking at the hitting and the pitching, and I see a lot of teams that have 1 300 hitter, if at all. A lot of hitters under 200, which I don't know what they're doing in Major League Baseball. It's really hard to understand how you can have a hitter hitting 150 and he's your left fielder. And yet I see team after team. There's two things that I don't understand. Not only do you have guys that can't hit 200, when I look at the lineup, you have like a decent hitter hitting first, and then your second hitter hits like 052, and then 100, and maybe you have a good fourth hitter, and then your fifth hitter hits 120, and your sixth hitter hits 120. And then I get to the ninth hitter, and he hits like 290. And I'm thinking, why is he batting ninth? Why is your second hitter can't hit? Where's your 3, 4, 5 hitters that can't hit? I did stumble on, there was a couple of lineups. I think St. Louis had a lot of hitters. Philadelphia has some pretty good hitters that hit, but it's the hitting's so bad. This is not professional baseball. This is minor league baseball you're watching. The pitching sucks. The hitting's worse. I don't really get it. Oh, they're teaching to hit home runs. Well, they're not hitting home runs. They're striking out, and their batting averages are about 200. Maybe it doesn't work. Why don't we go back to, let's get the 300 hitters. Let's teach them how to hit line drives, and they still hit home runs. That's like a Willie Mays here. So let's look at Willie's. Here's Willie's home runs since 1954. 41, 51, 36, 35, 29, 34, 29, 40, 49, 38, 47, 52, 37, and then 22 in 1967. Did he swing up? No. Oh, well, let's look at his batting average. 345, 319, 296, 333, 347, 313, 319, 308, 304, 314, 296, 317, 288, and 263. Lifetime 309 hitter, 564 homers, but he still played, I think, till 71. And he had 1,500 RBIs. RBIs, 110, 127, 84, 97, 96. And then he was 104, 103, 123, 141, 103, 111, 112, 103. And even the last year had 70. Now, can somebody explain to me why we need to see my corner dings? Why we need to see OPS? What is that? I don't even know what it is. But they'll say, oh, he's got an OPS of 700. And you're comparing it to batting average, like, oh, wow, he's hitting 700. Oh, that's not what it means. I think it's that you have extra base hits of your hits. So of your hits, you got extra base hits. Who gives a shit? I can see fine here with 564 homers, 1,575 RBIs, and a 309 average. That tells me everything I need to know about Willie Mays. Anyway, so that's the point of it. God, I hope these corners aren't dinged. Just a second. I got to check my corners. You got to be very careful. Yeah, my lower right corner seems to be a little dingy there. Shit, it won't be a 10. Well, maybe. We'll see how picky they get. But the front corners are fine. So maybe they look at the front more than they look at the back. Oh, well, it's not a 10, probably a 9. Anyway, That's what you look at, right? When I look at the box scores, I see a bunch of 150, 175, 200 hitters. I don't see anything like this. That's what's missing in the game, and that's why these teams suck, which makes it a little hard to predict because you're seeing a bunch of 200 hitters. And what I noticed with the averages, because that's what I tend to notice, when I look at the averages, I look and the guy will hit, 150 and he'll get 3 hits. And you're like, he's not supposed to get 3 hits. He's hitting 150. He's supposed to get 1 hit every 10 times up. And that's where it really gets screwy. They're so bad and they're so inconsistent that you'll bet on a team with a lot of good hitters and they won't hit, and then you'll bet on against the team with a lot of bad hitters, and the bad hitters will get 3 hits. And you're like, well, wait, his average is too low to do that. So anyway, food for thought. So pretty good day. Few surprises, but that's it. All right, let's start off. It's not even, it's just about noon, and it's 2:10 the first game, Detroit at Minnesota. Detroit likes playing that first game for some reason. Minnesota is 145-9. Jackson Jobe 0-0 with the 5.0 against Chris Paddock 0-1 with the 1473. So I am going to play this game over, and I'm going to play it for 3 units. Detroit seems to score. The only time they don't is when they play a good pitcher like the Yankees had, Fried. Fried shut him out. Again, I question the manager pulling him in the 7th inning. The guy's got a 1-hitter going. Why are you pulling him? Are you playing to win or not is, I guess, my question. And then if you've got a guy like Fried who's just mowing him down, why are you pulling him in the 8th inning and then your bullpen sucks? You got a good inning in the 8th, and the 9th he gave up 3 runs. What are you doing? Why are you taking out your pitcher? To save them from what? They're all going to get hurt because they're trying to spin the ball or they're trying to throw it too fast. I mean, there's a lot of idiots running baseball. Well, running politics, running baseball. So I'm going over 9. That's a joke. I don't know why Minnesota's 145 either with Chris Paddock with the 1473 ERA. I'm not banking on that. But I think it's high scoring. Philly, St. Louis. I did look at the box scores. They both have good hitters. St. Louis, I wasn't sure. They got 4 or 5, 280, 290 hitters. Philly 175-8. Chris Sanchez 0-0, 409 against Miles McCullough 0-1 and 11 and a quarter. Yeah, I remember Miles from last year. Yeah, that's another over. Let's go Philly over. Oh, Detroit's over 9. I put over, but I didn't put the 9. Philly is over 8. And I'm going to make this 3 units because now that I see both teams can hit, only 8, and I got 2 crap pitchers. The 49ers and the Yankees, and the 49ers killed them yesterday. The Yankees, again, a 135 favorite at home, 8.5 total. Jordan Hicks, 1-0 with a 2.38 for Frisco. Will Warren, 0-0 with the 6. I'm going with the 49ers here. I'll just take them straight up. Take the 49ers. Why are the Yankees a 135 favorite? Will Warren is a 6 ERA and Jordan Hicks is a 2.38. Probably Yanks aren't going to hit this guy, and probably the Niners, who put up 10 runs yesterday, will probably hit Will Warren. What that tells me is they're batting. Every team's got a different batting order, and they go to every ballpark, which is different. So by scoring 10 runs yesterday tells me that Frisco likes Yankee Stadium. They hit well in Yankee Stadium, so it'll be a good spot for them to hit. So I like the 49ers here. The Mets against Oakland. I had this game. I had Oakland under. It was high scoring, which was surprising. There was 2 good pitchers. The Mets are 145 and 9.5. David Peterson 1-0 with the 2.53 against TJ Ginn. 0-0 with an 0-0. I'm going to go with the Mets. Now, it was a high scoring game yesterday, but with a 2.53 pitcher, I can't go over. So I'll take the Mets. Toronto plays Baltimore. Um, Bowden Francis for Toronto. Baltimore is 125-8. Bowden Francis 1-1 with a 3.18, and Mr. Fuji Tamahaka Saguna 1-1 with a 2.89. Should be a low scoring game. I guess I have to play it that way. Baltimore under 8. And what I'll do maybe tomorrow is I'll go through the box scores and see. But what I'm realizing is I don't know how meaningful it is that a team's got 5 hitters hitting 140, and yet they still get 5, 6. They don't hit a lot, but they still get those guys still get 3 or 4 hits. So it's just the average means that if they get up 10 times, 9 of them they're going to get outs versus a better hitter, he'll only get out like 7 times. Atlanta, Tampa 145-8.5. Atlanta over 9 and it won yesterday. So there should be scoring here. Tampa 145-8.5. AJ Smith 0-2 with a 5.19 ERA. Tampa Drew Rasmussen 1-0 with an 0.9. This is a Tampa play, and we'll make it for 2 units. I got a really good pitcher, 1-0 with an 0.9 against a real bad pitcher, 0-2 with the 5.19. So I'm just going to play the pitcher here. I'm going to play Tampa to win. Washington, Miami, good Super Bowl. Miami 145-7.5. Trevor Williams 1-0 with the 5.40 against Sandy Alcantara. 1-0 with a 3.72. Sandy, I remember from last year. I don't remember if he was good or bad. 5.40 for Washington. What did I have yesterday? I had Washington and they won. Pretty high scoring game. I'm going to go over in this one too. Washington over 7.5. That seems like a low total there. Boston and Chicago. Chicago won 14-1 yesterday, not Boston. Boston minus 167.5. Richard Fitz 0-2 with the 4.50 against Martin Perez 1-0. I'm going to go right back with the White Sox. A 0.73 and the way they hit, even though they have bad hitting, it's really in the season, right? When you looked at them against the Tigers, they didn't have one guy hitting over 200. Obviously, now they got a lot of hits. They got a lot of runs yesterday. So it goes in streaks as gold and silver do. So we're going to go. We're just going to go with that. So we'll go with the White Sox. You don't look at the record; it's too early. But you go with the streak, 14-1 yesterday. Maybe Boston doesn't play well in Chicago. Chicago's at home, and they got a weak pitcher, Fitz, 0-2 with the 4.50. KC and Cleveland. I had KC. Cleveland beat them. Cleveland today, 135-7.5. Michael Lorenzen, 1-1 with a 3.18 against Louis Ortiz, 0-2 with an 8.44. I hate to go with KC again, and Cleveland got him. Let's go over. It looks like an over. Cleveland over 7.5. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. We've got Cincinnati minus 138.5. Andrew Heaney 0-0 with the 1.50 against Andrew Abbott 0-0 with an 0.00. But are they that good? I don't know. Cincinnati's favored at home. Let's go all right, let's do a little bit of homework. Andrew Abbott. All right, he hasn't pitched this year. Last year, he played 25 games, was 10-10 with a 3.72 ERA. So instead of 0-0 with an O, we always got a 3.72. Andrew Haney, he's pitched in 2 games, 5 innings, 4 innings. He's been pretty good, but he doesn't pitch a lot. So let's go under in the game. Under 8.5. I don't think Pitt's got a very good lineup. They got a weak lineup. So they're not going to score, since he's probably not going to score on this pitcher. So there we go. California against Houston, and Altuve's hitting like 350. So the rest of their lineup kind of sucks, but Altuve's hitting. I think I got 3 hitters on the team. Houston minus 159. Tyler Anderson for California, 0-0 with the 4.50. Ryan Gusto for Houston, 1-0 with the 1.13. We're going Houston all the way. Yesterday, we had Houston over 9, and it won. Today, we're just going to take Houston. Probably a low. Well, Houston could beat them. We'll take Houston 2 units. We'll do it for Altuve. Milwaukee, Arizona. Arizona 185-9. How did I not play this game at all? I don't know. Arizona 185-9. Chan Patrick 1-0 with the 2.45 from Milwaukee. Corbin Burns 0-1 with the 5.79. Arizona is really hitting the ball. We're going to take Arizona, and we're going to go over 9. Yeah, I looked at Arizona's lineup. Pretty strong lineup, especially when you're used to looking at these other lineups. A 170 hitter. There's one team that has 2 hitters hitting like .54 and .63. But the one that gets me is you got a 300 hitter or 280 hitter hitting 9th. Okay, what is the thought process there? I managed the girls, right? And it was like my best hitter batted first because I wanted her up the most. I wanted her to bat 4 times, not stick her at the bottom of the order and then she bats 3. I want my best hitters to bat more times. Very simple. So I don't know why you'd have a good hitter hitting 9th. These managers are getting dumber and dumber in all sports. I noticed they renewed the Oregon coach in football, and I'm like, this guy's an idiot. You're never gonna win with him because he goes for it on 4th down. He cost you the Washington game. This is the type of style he is. He's not a coach. A monkey could go, oh, well, it's 4th and 2. I got to go for it. I mean, is that what you want? Let's see, Arizona. All right, Colorado and San Diego. So Denver against the Chargers. We got San Diego 175, 8.5. Chase Dolliner 1-0 with the 7.2. So we would have won with Dylan Cease, but I don't know when he pitched, a couple of days ago. And 1-0 with the 7.20, and Kyle Hart 1-0 with an 11.32. Funny how Colorado stinks on the road. They don't hit. San Diego does. 11-2. We got to go over. Let's go San Diego over. And it was an over yesterday. Over 8.5, and I'm going to make this 3 units. The Cubbies against the Dodgers. I had the game under. The Dodgers won 2-1 or 3-0 or something yesterday. 2 good pitchers. Ben Brown for the Cubbies, 1-1 with the 7.71. Rocco Sasaki, 0-0 with the 4.15. We're going over here. The Cubbies over 8.5. And I'll make this 2 units. Because the Dodgers can hit. The Cubs aren't bad hitting either. In our last game, Texas-Seattle, and yes, Seattle has like 1 hitter on their team, and yet they still score runs. It amazes. There's one guy, Crawford, I think. He bats 2nd or 3rd. He's hitting like 350, and he keeps getting 3 hits a game. And I why are you pitching to this guy? Just walk him, pitch around him. Because then after him, it's 120, 130, 150, 160. There's no hitting. Pitch to the guys hitting 160. You don't pitch to the guy hitting 350 when he's the only guy on the team that can hit. What are you doing? These managers have their heads screwed on so bad. They are fucking clueless. All right, Texas, Seattle. Seattle minus 115.7. Kumar Rocker for Texas, 0-1 with the 7.88. Mr. Flair, Brian Wu, 1-0. Well, we got to go Seattle and the Flares. So let's review. We got Detroit over 9, Philly over 8, the 49ers, the Mets, Baltimore under 8, Tampa Bay, Washington over 7.5, the White Sox, Cleveland over 7.5, Pittsburgh under 8.5, Houston, Arizona over 9, San Diego over 8.5, the Cubbies over 8.5, and Seattle. Here's the picks. I got 6 picks. Detroit over 9, 3 unit. Philly over 8, 3 unit. Tampa Bay, 2 unit. Houston, 2 unit. San Diego over 8.5, 3 unit. And the Cubbies over 8.5 at the Dodgers, 2 units. Morning Prophet, how are you? So that is baseball. Let's go. Let's check. Well, the Masters, the way it's set up Saturday, Sunday, is the players don't, it goes by leaderboard. So the first 2 days are random. Now the leaders go off late. So there's really nothing to see now because the leaders, I don't know what time they tee off, 2 or 3 o'clock. So let's go to the NFL. And is there any news there? What Brown's signing of Joe Flacco tells us about Kirk Cousins' NFL draft. Well, Kirk Cousins, he sucks. We already know that. We thought it was a mistake when Atlanta signed him last year. Mock draft 8.0. Tice's final NFL draft big board. 6 quarterbacks in top 70. Dylan Gabriel is in the draft. He's the best quarterback. What are you doing without him? I don't know. Derek Carr's injury puts pressure on Saints to land Shredder. Why? They have Hayner. Jake Hayner is a good quarterback, so I don't get that. Tice's final NFL draft big board. 6 quarterbacks in top 70. Let's see. I don't get this McMillan guy for Arizona. He's an athlete. Oh, that bothers me. I thought it was Arizona State was the big team. I guess this guy's going in order of the player. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to waste my time. It's funny how 3 Georgia players are in the top 10, defensive players. Report Saints quarterback Derek Carr's 2025 availability in doubt due to shoulder. Well, if you have Prime Junior, you're not going to win a game, New Orleans. Flacco returns to Brown. Abdul Carter posts, whatever. The Washington signs this backup third-string quarterback, Josh Johnson, who played for what? We saw him in one game, and the guy just sucked. What is the point of bringing him back? All right, so really we don't have much there. All right, so baseball we went again. The 6 picks: Detroit over 9, Philly over 8, San Diego over 8.5, 3 units, Tampa Bay, Houston, and the Cubs over 8.5, 2 units. If I just say Houston or Tampa, then I'm playing the team. If I don't say over or under. All right. So I was watching this guy, $4,000 gold soon. Well, yeah, it's going to be 5,000 there, fella. Um, I want to see this, but I already know the answer. She was a bitch, obviously. Let's see. Let's go to my likes. Good match. The Rock versus Stone Cold. I was just about to watch that. So if I play it now, they'll ban it. So I can't play it. The WWE is very picky about that. But we could go to China's middle class is collapsing. We'll just play a minute of this. With China, you only have to play a minute or two.
On private and foreign companies. China's economy is crumbling. The rich are going bankrupt overnight, plunging back into poverty.
I thought the rich got richer.
Mercedes-Benz China has recently laid off a significant number of employees. Finally, I am done with my work. I am posting this video today not to win anyone's sympathy, but because I can't hold it in any longer. My company failed, and I have too many disappointments in my life. Now I am in debt for 1.9 million. I dare not tell anyone, not even my parents, because they are old. I am afraid they will be sad and unable to bear it.
Well, they're not going to be happy about it.
I am not young anymore. I am already 40 years old.
He looks like he's 10. He acts like he's 10.
China's real estate crisis and economic downturn, coupled with the CCP's crackdown on private and foreign companies, have led to high unemployment, weak domestic demand, and the middle class returning to poverty. A survey shows that 80% of Chinese consumers believe they have experienced consumption downgrade. The phenomenon of consumption downgrade in first-tier cities is shocking. Whether in Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, or Shenzhen, the former consumption boom has now subsided. Instead, people are tightening their belts and holding their wallets tightly, and many young people have begun to save money. Everyone has reduced consumption, and the once bustling shopping malls have now become deserted. Today, we will talk about the topic of Chinese people's consumption downgrade.
Hey, we don't care about
in the first
that.
Half of
but
last year,
I mean, and then now the tariffs are kicking in. So what the tariffs do to them at 110% or whatever it is, they can't sell. So they've lost customers. So that would be like if I'm trying to sell Willie Mays, I've lost customers. I can't sell it to China now because nobody in China can buy it. So I've lost a lot of customers who might buy this card, can't. And then I have, so China can't really sell to America because of these tariffs. And that's what America's doing. They're screwing us because a lot of the goods we would buy cheaply, we can't buy. They're just simply not going to be shipped. They're not going to be available. So what do I talk about? When I talk about substitution goods, where I'll buy the New York Steaks 20s, but the porterhouse is 10, I'll buy the porterhouse and vice versa. But if you take away my ability to substitute, now what do? A lot of the stuff was made in China because of the cheap labor was made cheaper. You're paying a union guy $60 an hour in China, it's $10 an hour. I can make the profit cheaper. Now you tariff it, you take away the advantage of the cheap labor. You're not supposed to have equal trade. Who said that? Whoever said trade has to be equal. Oh, we buy 10 billion from China, but they only buy 2 billion from us. Who gives a shit? Our labor is 6 times higher, so therefore they make the product cheaper. So let them make all the products, which they do. We don't make anything here. All we do is sell stocks, and maybe they buy houses here. I don't know. We don't make anything. So what is it that we want to sell? Or well, GM, it's a tariff. They don't buy GM. I don't buy GM here. I buy Toyota. GM's a piece of crap. So's Ford. So why would China not want to buy them? I mean, so that's what's happening. So what you're doing with the tariffs is you're killing competition for us. You're We're not able to. It's not even that the goods are going to be more expensive. We're not going to be able to get them, and we don't have manufacturers set up here to do it. Why would we? It's all being done in China. So you're killing. So I think we'll be okay going to Myers or Walmart to get food, because I don't think that came from China. China doesn't have any food. They import all theirs. So we should still be okay food wise. But if you want to get a TV, a radio, golf clubs, stuff like that, shoes, you're going to be in the prices the prices will try to go up. Like I showed you with the Coca-Cola. The Coke tried to go to $3.54, couldn't move. And then now it's 2 for $5. So the price actually went down from $2.90 to $2.50, but you got to buy 2, which isn't for pop. It's not a big deal. If you drink pop, you're going to drink 2 of them. So that's where you're at with it. So that's where the tariffs really hurt us, and it hurts China. So China doesn't go out of business necessarily. They sell to somebody else, provided there's buyers. So like in Japan or Hong Kong or Korea, that's where they try to sell their goods if they want them there. So you had the whole U.S. market buying, and now you've killed China selling to the U.S., and you've also killed the U.S. market where we would buy their goods. Now what do we buy? George Soros has really got his head around Trump right now, doesn't he? Profit. China also produces 90% of the world's rare earth minerals, which America needs to build chips, jet engines, advanced displays, missiles, avionics, and a whole spectrum of other applications. Yeah, but the U.S. has rare minerals. Many countries have them. It's not like they're only in China. That's part of what the Ukraine thing is they got the rare minerals there. So as things are shifting to, as you're saying, these things, and a lot of AI stuff, right? They need the rare minerals. So all of a sudden the U.S. wakes up going, oh, shit, we need rare minerals for that. We don't have it. Or we have it, but Biden hasn't been letting us build on them. It's bad for the environment or climate change. Well, yeah, if we don't have this, we don't really need to worry about climate change. We won't last. So, yeah, I mean, what exactly is he tariffing? Maybe he doesn't tariff rare minerals. Maybe you only tariff certain things, but you're collapsing China. China's not your problem, though. China makes the goods cheap for you. Yeah, you can't compete with them, but it's your own fault because your labor, at GM, labor is what, $60 an hour? And at China, it's probably, let's say, $10, $15 an hour. And they don't have to pay for medical because the government does that. So you can't compete on the labor costs. So what are you fucking around? That's the point of free trade. If China can build a better mousetrap cheaper, and Japan does a better cat trap, and Russia does a better, elephant trap, and every country does something good, that's what you want. You want competition, and you want the best product at the best cost. And that's why it's free trade among the world. And that's why you don't tariff everything. How many times do I got to show you this whole power thing? I mean, I'll show it every class because this is major important to become a financial power. Low taxes, because you've got to keep the money in our hands, not in the government's hands, because God knows the government don't know what they're doing. Free trade, the most important, with 2 stars. Rule of law, you got to have law protect the businesses. Stable money is gold and good communication, so everybody knows what the fuck's going on. And I'm going to make that gold. I'll give it 1 star. But you're supposed to have free trade. Are we having free trade? No, we're having these tariffs, which is going to get us to the depression in a minute. All right. So we were watching a little Mark McGuire at Egon yesterday. So Mark McGuire had Alligator on. There was an Egon I was watching. Yeah, we watched Egon yesterday.
Until we have had a physical audit of the gold, we cannot assume that the gold is there. Personally, I don't think that the US holds anywhere near the amount of 8,000 tons that they say. And I think that's a real issue rather than this difference in accounting that Maloney mentioned. I think that's interesting. The key is here, let's have a real physical gold audit and let's include also the liabilities of the treasury when it comes to having issued paper certificates or having sold that gold, but still counting as their gold, etc. And that's what we'd like to see in all the futures contracts and everything against this. They're never going to do that, in my view, because that would reveal that the gold isn't there. They don't dare to do it until we have had a physical audit of the gold.
That's what I say. You can't expose you don't have it. It's like Money Heist. In Money Heist, the truth about Money Heist is that they replaced the gold with brass. But as long as people thought they had the gold there, they didn't care. Even though they saw the brass, they didn't know that it was brass and not gold because they painted it gold. And that was how the professor won. He basically said, I'll expose that you don't have the gold. What could they do? So they couldn't get exposed. Well, that's what's happening here. You can't do an audit of Fort Knox and expose you have no gold. You can show gold, but you got to prove that it's yours. It's not. That's the problem. They sold it to JP Morgan, who sold it to China. Even though it's sitting in Fort Knox, it's China's gold. They just haven't asked for it yet because they thought it's fine. It's in Fort Knox. Anyway. Let's see. Well, let's see another.
Many people ask us, what is a reputable gold partner? When you buy physical gold to store in a private vault, it's extremely important that you choose the right partner. It has to be a reputable gold company that's been in business for at least 10 years, maybe longer. And it also has to have very good and experienced management, a long history of successful business or career. It doesn't have to be in the gold business, but you have to be able to check that they have actually a background that is very respectable. Number two, the company, of course, has to also be controlled by some supervisory organization. So a financial audit by one of the top auditing companies in the world is essential. Also, the same kind like KPMG, for example, PricewaterhouseCoopers, also should do the compliance audit, which is also very important. Every company that is respectable always has a compliance audit also. So those are the key factors which you need to evaluate when you buy gold through a private company. Many people ask us.
Okay, I don't ask you that. All right. Let's talk about, since we're talking tariffs, let's talk about the Depression. What really happened. From my notes, do I have it dated? I don't have it dated. All right. The Great Depression. Cause of the Depression, business stagnation and unemployment. Stock market crashed, as we know. Interest rates had went up, businesses declined, profits dropped. So with high interest rate, made costs go up, made profits go down. Government price controls, high tariffs, big problem. Oh, you mean tariffs are bad? Oh, what's Trump doing? High tariffs, big problem. Went worldwide. farming collapsed because we couldn't export this. We couldn't export. So the farmers had wheat and corn and everything. They couldn't export them because the tariffs on them made the goods too expensive to sell. So again, you're over your market. Your market's here and you want to sell them here. You're not going to sell any. This led to a banking crisis. As I explained before, the farmers would take loans out to plant their crops with the thought of, when we sell them, we'll make profit. We'll give you 50%. We'll give you your money back for the loan. And when we make our profit, which is why we're in business, to make profits. 1931, unemployment, 8 million. 1932, government doubled income tax. Are they insane? The government caused the Depression, as they're doing now. Tariffs, 1. Price fixing, farmers, 2. High income tax, 3. And subsidies, 4. All other taxes were raised. So it took the money out of the people and gave it to the government. Government can't spend. The government doesn't go to Target and buy, and Walmart and Kroger's and everywhere else. The government wastes money. They don't know how to spend it. FDR devalued the dollar by 40% and seized gold holdings, started minimum wage. Government spending at 10 billion, revenues were 3 billion. Does that sound familiar? In other words, the revenues, which were the taxes, were only 3 billion. So he raises taxes to get more revenue, but he doesn't, because it causes more unemployment. Profits are down. Nobody's working. So nobody's paying more tax. That's why you don't raise taxes. But government spending was 10 billion. So you're only getting 3 billion in, and you're spending 10 billion. Now just replace the billions with trillions. But it's the same thing. Your revenue is way short of your spending. What the fuck are you doing? You get a job, you make 100 grand at it. Do you spend 200 grand? Do you make 100 grand? I hope not. NRA, National Recovery Administration, was terrible. Another government program. Labor union, bad news. It raises the labor's. It's like minimum wage. Minimum wage forces the price of labor up, as does labor unions, right? If you're at a union, you go from maybe $10 to $20 an hour. Well, guess what happens? The company can't afford it, lays you off. So you might make more, but you're gonna get laid off. What do we know about the Great Crash by Reynolds? The 20s were great, not bad. Stocks crashed due to government intervention and the Smoot-Hawley tariffs bill calling for increased tariffs on imports. Monetary Control, The Political Business Cycle by Poole. So these are different books, but they spell out what happened, and it's the same thing. Government intervention, raising taxes, tariff acts. It's all raising the cost on us, so we can't save, we can't spend. And if we can, in other words, if you take the money out of our hands in taxes, and then you get the tariffs, which takes the money out of our hands because everything's cost more, or we can't sell it, where does the money go? It goes to the government. So if the money goes to the government, what does they do with it? Well, let's build a road, Charlie, or a dam, or something that doesn't produce revenue. So you're spending, but there's no revenue. And their thought is, well, we'll spend, that'll get people working and they can pay tax. Well, but you're just taking money to spend. There's no revenue. You're not building a store where people are going to go shop. If the government did that, I could understand it, but they're not smart enough to do that. So the government builds roads. Where's the revenue? Where are you getting revenue from? Oh, you're not. They build a bridge. They build a dam. Where's the revenue? We have a military. Where's the revenue? There isn't any. So you end up, you basically kill the economy. You got to have income, because this is why you don't tax the rich. The rich keep their money. They invest it in businesses, in which case they hire employees. And so it's a multiple effect. So now you've got 100 employees working for some rich guy. They're all paying taxes. And you keep your taxes low, and now you get more tax revenue because you've got 100 people working instead of nobody. And then they're off of unemployment, so the government doesn't have to pay out. So it's all this big cycle. This is why you should never tax the rich. And the rich don't get richer, and the poor don't get poorer. Everybody gets richer if you allow the system to work. Because the rich guy opens a business and he makes money, but the poor guy goes to work for him and he makes money. So now he's not poor, he's middle class. And people keep questioning the middle class, like, we're not India. There's no class system here. Some people make more money than others. If you make 100 grand, am I middle class if I make 100 grand? I don't look at it like that. I look at it, can I buy my maize cards? Can I buy my gold and silver? And I'm protecting myself. I don't care what class I'm in. I don't look at myself as upper or lower class. So I don't really know what the hell they're talking about. So a lot of propaganda, a lot of Keynesian crap that they have. So Smoot-Hawley tariffs really caused the depression. And then what the government did next, doubled income tax, taking money out of the economy, tariffs, price fixing on farmers, which is never good, higher income tax. So you had taxes with tariffs, higher income tax, subsidies, price fixing, and then all the other taxes were raised. So you wonder how a depression happens. Get government the fuck out of it. But we know who FDR's financial guy was. It was actually Keynes. Now, we see that it didn't work, right? We had a depression from 1930 to 1945 till the war ended. So we had a 15-year depression that should have lasted 6 months if you didn't do all that. That's stupid, or you would have reversed the Tariff Act, which was probably a government favor to somebody by doing these tariffs, right? Just like Trump now is tariffing, it's probably benefiting Soros. Maybe it benefits Musk. I don't know. There's somebody behind the scenes that's benefiting. Trump, I can't believe he's this stupid, but yeah, maybe I can. He's going to become very unpopular when we go into our depression. We are in a recession, and don't let anybody tell you we're not. It's a slowing of the economy, and our economy slowed. So don't kid yourself just because there's more government jobs that all of a sudden we're not in a depression. Oh, unemployment's low. Yeah, but how are they counting it? And they're putting people to work in government jobs. It's not, that's not employment, especially when the jobs are phony. So basically, it just means the economy slowed down, which you can see it is, and more unemployment, which you can see, what's happening. Let's see. Eliminating runaway inflation, lessons from the German hyperinflation. The Germans printed new money and halted future inflation expectations. So they went from the Reichsmark to the Deutschmark is how they ended their hyperinflation. So meaning we have hyperinflation with this, and we'll come out with a new USD number 2, which will stop the inflation on this, because the inflation is you printed too much of this. So if you get rid of this and you replace it, with this, then it's new. But nobody understands inflation anyway. They explain it as prices. But that will settle things down by changing the money. I'm surprised we haven't done that yet. Or we're going to really, the best cure is gold-backed currency. But the mafia doesn't want that. They can't sell their drugs. Policymakers must have credibility. Well, that's not there. Convince the public to stop inflation. Anti-inflation policies, one focus, eliminate inflation. Be wary of pessimistic conclusions that inflation can't be removed. Like I said, it can with gold, but it can't be. Once you kill this, if you don't get rid of it, it can't be fixed. But it can be fixed with a new dollar that's gold back because you haven't printed it to death yet. Lessons of the German Inflation by Haslick, another book. Hyperinflation 1919 to 1923. The Reichsbank printed a lot of money off of gold, inflated for the war. So they had to pay for World War I, which is why they printed the shit out of their money, even though nobody lost World War I. It was a strange war. November 2023, circulations of 245 billion times of money. Prices went up 1.38 billion times. So you printed 245 billion times amount of money. So it is printing the money, and then the prices go up, but it's the money printing that caused that. Very interesting. How did England become the number one power? They adopted Adam Smith's views. 1830s, they outlawed slavery. I don't think that did anything. Adopt free trade, yes. Everywhere is free trade, and you're successful. So why are we tariffing when the best way to run your country is free trade? Why is nobody listening to this? Answer, because they're all Keynesians. And the Keynesians don't believe in it. And we saw how good the Keynesians did from 1930 to 1945, causing the greatest depression in the history of the world. So we've already seen it doesn't work. That's why I roll my eyes and call people Keynesians, because it doesn't work. Why are you Keynesian then? Austrian works, free trade, rule of law, gold standards, low taxes. Why, if that works and you're doing everything the opposite, what do you expect to happen? And yet there was no country that does this. England did it, they were number one. US did it, they were number one. Now nobody does it. Nobody's number one. We're not number one anymore. China's not number one either. They tariff. You're going through a stage of nobody being number one because nobody's on the gold standard. However, that's going to change when BRICS goes on the gold standard. So keep your eyes open. Buy your fucking gold. Stagflation is high inflation and high unemployment. Keynes said that can't happen, but of course it did. Let's see. I don't want to get too much into this. So anyway, so what we got going on, the tariffs are bad. It makes costs go up, not necessarily prices. Prices will go up. There's only so much we can do by substituting, right? We won't buy Coke, we'll buy 7-Up, or we'll buy Dr. Pepper, whatever, Faygo. There's only so much of that you can do, but eventually everybody raises their prices. So all you can do is substitute to the lowest price. But at the end of the day, the price, there's 10 different ones, and Coke and Pepsi go up. These stay low, and then eventually these go up also, not as high. And so you're going to continually substitute for those. Or you can just get into orange juice, water, lemonade, whatever you get into. That's what ends up happening. And, I can see credit cards will get maxed out. The bonds, nobody wants. The stock market's crashing. There's no doubt about that. Let's see, where did the stocks close yesterday? Consumer sentiment approaches 3-year low with inflation worries highest since 81. Well, it's more than a worry. It's a fact. There is inflation. It's going through the roof. And they'll just keep telling you it's prices, and they'll keep fucking around with the prices. The Dow ended at 40,212 yesterday. I don't think you'll see it again. I think it'll be in the 30s. Let's see how Bitcoin did. Bitcoin 84,000, so it went up a lot yesterday. But look how it goes. Well, actually, it could have went up today. Yeah, it was 78,000. And now it's at 84. Again, it's not anything that's real, so I don't know why you would be buying it. It's phony, so I don't really get that. Let's go to eBay and see what's happening there. So we know what's coming, right? We know the inflation's going to be huge. We see it coming. We hide and get into gold and silver. The gold's going through the roof. The silver will go through the roof, but it's not Basel III compliant yet, so they don't have to cover the shorts. So there's two things going on in silver. The Basel III, the COMEX is still controlling it. They're still pushing prices down. The second thing is the central banks are still just buying gold, all the BRICS countries. They're not really buying silver bars. That's coming. But as long as they can still get gold and it's still this cheap, they're still going to buy it. Eventually, they'll start buying silver. Basel III happens July 1st, where COMEX will have to cover. And the game ends when there just isn't any more to buy. Once all the gold and silver physical are gone, COMEX is gone because they can't. How are they going to pay the people who take delivery? It's going to be very expensive. And then you have the Shanghai, Russia, and Shanghai, Moscow, and Dubai gold and diamond exchange will have the physical price. Right now, they're probably still close to the COMEX price because everybody doesn't know what the fuck COMEX is. And COMEX is not the all-time high of gold and silver. That's the all-time paper high. That is not, we don't really know what the physical price of gold and silver are. We just have this COMEX price. Well, we know it's much higher because as you can see, gold, 3,000, just keeps getting bought, 3,100, 3,200. It'll just keep getting bought because it's up here. Because you have to get out of this, the demand for the gold keeps running. And that's really the bottom line is there's nowhere else to turn. You've got to get off the Titanic, and the only way is to get into a lifeboat. And the only way is the gold and silver are the only two lifeboats, not the British pound or the euro or the Chinese or the Japanese. I show you these Chinese videos. China's fucked. They're moving a lot of their factories to Vietnam, so we'll see them get better. These tariffs are what? To crush China? Why would you want to do that? They're making all your goods cheaper. Why do you want to crush China? This is the problem. What we want to have, we want everything to be built in America. Why? Why do you need everything built in America if you can't build it as cheap as China can? What is the point? So if you want to buy Nikes, they're 150 now because China makes them. So when the US makes them, they'll be 250. What did that accomplish? You're going to price them out of the market. Nobody's can afford them, but we're building them here. I mean, that's not the point of free trade. Everybody does something good in their country, like spices, and what China has spices or something, and apparently these minerals. What is it? Rare earth minerals. Well, the U.S. has rare earth minerals, but not spices, not furs, not certain things that the other countries have. It's just the way the world is. There's different climates. We do cotton in South. That's what this whole American Revolution was about, or the Civil War. The Civil War was about the cotton. The South wanted to not have a tariff on it, and the North did. Again, a war over tariffs. Well, you're going to have wars over tariffs now. I think the point of the wars are we're in a recession, and I heard the CIA guy say, well, we have wars to get out of recessions, which is totally false. He said, oh, it puts the military to work, and that generates more people working, and more taxes are raised. And that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Wars are very, very expensive and do nothing but bankrupt countries. Ask England what happened. They had gold, they had to pay for it, and then they're bankrupt. So the war did not help England. It did not help France. It doesn't help anybody. It's a very large expense. Anyway, waiting on Russia and Ukraine. I don't know what Trump's waiting on there. Let's end the fucking war already. Why are you keeping it going? Because George Soros wants it going. Because England and France are now pushing Ukraine to keep going. Doesn't do any good, except for the defense contractors are able to make more missiles to kill people, which I never understood why you have a war. Let Trump, let Biden, let Putin and Zelensky fight go into a boxing ring and fight it out. And we know Putin would win. He does Taekwondo or whatever he does. Anyway, you've got massive problems here. You've got massive inflation. It's not 1%. It's so much higher than that. But then you have media that won't tell you what's going on. I mean, this is ridiculous. Why aren't they reporting the news the way they should? This is the most corrupt country and the most corrupt government. It's worse than the Romans. The Romans died because they got corrupt and they took their gold out of their coins and the silver, replaced it with lead. I don't know what they do with the gold. I guess Nero made statues of himself or something. I don't know. But what you have is total corruption, you get elected, and then so you get the lobbyists to pay you, and then you do what the lobbyists want. So basically the lobbyists are running the country, not the government. Why do we have an election? Why Trump's doing all these executive orders? What the fuck's going on? It's supposed to go through Congress and whatever they vote on it, but that's not what's happening. It takes too long. All these tariffs are totally illegal. You can't just say, okay, we're going to tariff it. This is not Nazi Germany, or this is not Stalin Russia, or any of these dictators, France, England with their kings and queens. You have to have balances. This is Rome. We need Rome before Julius Caesar, not Rome after Julius Caesar. Not that you can't have a good dictator or a good king, but you got to have more than one person make the decision. You need competition. So really everything comes back to monopoly versus competition. You need competition. Even if you had 3 or 4 presidents and let them compete for what's best. But it really is supposed to represent us, take care of us. And what Trump's doing is not taking care. What Biden did was not. What Obama did was not. What Clinton did was not. The only one that really did was was Reagan, because he lowered taxes, so he allowed us to grow. Right? That's why you should not have income tax. It didn't come in until 1913. So what did we do from 1776 to 1913 with no income tax? Somehow we were on the gold standard and everything worked very fine as we grew and grew and grew. So maybe that's a good model to follow. Nope, we got to go Keynesian, and we got to tax you, and we're going to do all these social programs and tax the rich and all this crap. Oh my God. So we're totally fucked, basically, because the people in charge are fucking clueless. Bitcoin is not real, and yet people go into that. You go into gold. It's very simple, but nowhere see, people think if people are in Bitcoin, they're not in gold, and that's why the gold price hasn't gone up, and that's got nothing to do with it. It's all comex. It's all JP Morgan keeping the price down for the Chinese or whoever he's doing it for. The U.S. is not smart enough to buy the cheap gold. China is. So China will rule because they have the most gold. And as I said, each country who became the power. So let's look at China. Do they have low taxes? I have no idea. Do they have free trade? No, they have tariffs. Do they have a rule of law? I don't think so. They're communists. Stable money. They do have 60,000 tons of gold. They're the most stable. Good communications. I doubt it. So I don't know that there's a country now that has our five things: the low taxes, the free. Nobody has free trade. Nobody has gold. I doubt there's rules of law. I mean, this Le Pen got thrown in jail for winning an election. Romania guy was a conservative, won the election, and they didn't count it. I mean, what, you have an election, the wrong guy wins, so you don't count it. This is the problem. The world is so corrupt. So you're really only out gold and silver because they can't fuck around with it. This and this, they can print to zero, right? This is how government controls you. This is worthless. This is a euro. I'll do that way. So this is a euro. This is printed to death, and this is a dollar. This is printed. That's how they control you. It doesn't have a value, right? But in gold and silver, they can't control you. They can't print it. It sits in the ground. And you can only dig out what you can dig out, but you got to make it into coins or something. And, it's simple enough to buy. You just go to your store and just go buy whatever gold, whatever silver, as much as you can. The goal would be to get out of your dollars. So if you have $500,000, the goal is to end up with about 5,000 of them. And the rest is in gold and silver. Even with gold going up, it's still dirt cheap. You've got to take the blinders off and realize it's been comex price fixing it, not the market. As I said, with my friend Alyssa being the price fixer, saying hamburgers are $10. And no matter what the market says, the hamburgers are $10. And that's what gold is. Whatever the market says, gold sitting at 30, now at 3,200. Let's take silver. Silver sitting at $32. Why? It's not what the market says, but that's what Alyssa says. She says silver $30 or JP Morgan. Regardless of all the supply and demand, regardless of what's happening in the market. That's why it doesn't matter how many people buy gold or silver. That doesn't change the price as long as Alyssa points the price to be $32 silver, $10 for a hamburger. That's what price fixing is. It just ignores the market. So that's why you don't buy it. That's why the price of 3,200 for gold, everybody says it's the all-time high, is bullshit. It's the all-time paper high. It is not the all-time high for gold. Gold will be much higher once we get to to let the market dictate. And the market says how many people. So in a market, there's a mantle card. What's it worth? What the market will pay for it. I have the card. I can sell it. You want to give me 80,000 for it. That's the market. But JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon says, well, no, the price of this card is $1,000. Even though the market is 80,000, right? We can get 80,000 in the market, but he's price fixing it at 1,000. So what would you do? You'd go buy it, right? Oh, I'll have two of them. They're worth 80 grand and you're selling it for $1,000. That's what he's doing. He's price fixing the price. Oh, I don't want the mantle card. It's only worth 1,000 when we know it's worth 80. We've seen it on eBay at 80. So this is the problem with this. This is free market based on how many people will buy it and sell it and what they'll sell it for. It's 80. But that's not what, so let's translate it to silver. The demand for it is much higher than the $32 price fixing that's going on. No matter what the market says, $32 for the ounce of silver, $1,000 for the mantle card. The difference is we know the mantle card's 80,000 if it's a PSA 9. God knows what it is as a PSA 10. I can't find one. But a PSA 9's 80,000 because this is his last card last year. So if his is 80,000, we know, but we could get it for 1,000. The difference is silver, we don't know what the price is. Here's the mantles, 80,000, and JP Morgan's got it for $1,000. Okay, so here, what's the silver price? We don't know if it's 80 grand or not. We do know JP Morgan's sitting there at 32. So the market is way up here, but the silver by JP Morgan's price fixing says now it's only worth 32. And that's why it's the opportunity of a lifetime here. Because you're getting silver that's worth a lot more than 32 for 32. As I showed you, the difference is with the mantle card, we know it's 80,000 for a PSA 9. All right, PSA 8, maybe, I don't know, 20,000. But we know it's worth more than we know the silver's worth more than the price fix because, again, the market is not dictating the real price of silver. So then it becomes these paper contracts, which are bullshit, which are just flooding the market with paper. So the price of silver is paper. So when you say gold's at its all-time high, it's the paper all-time high price, not the physical all-time high. The physical all-time high is at least 10 times. I've said that, and I'll keep saying that. So it's probably 30,000 an ounce. And the more inflation that happens and the more countries that go out, the euro goes out, the British pound goes out, Swiss franc goes out, the yuan goes, as all these dollars start going out, there's much more and more and more demand for gold and silver. And so we'll get to a physical price and it'll be at least 10 times more. And we're banking on the frenzy of finally recognizing the boat sinking. So once you have that frenzy going, the price shoots up even more. So that's really what you have is you have this price fixing. The tariffs don't help because it makes things more expensive. Well, where are we going to get the money for? So if you're in silver and gold, you're about to get this boost when it switches to free market. But don't tell me 3280 is all-time high for gold. I'll laugh at you. It's the all-time high of price fixing. It's the highest price fix it's been at. But it's certainly not the real value. And especially as the dollar's lost value. The dollar has no value. As the demand for gold goes up, as the other countries start realizing their dollar's worthless, and let's get into gold. Yeah, the price goes up, alligator. And it's not the dollar going down triggering the price increase. It's the demand triggering the price increase. That's how a market works, alligator. If you have a lot of demand, the price goes up. And I hate to burst your bubble, but that's why the gold's going up is the demand, not the dollar going down. Because if that was the case, then why did it go down to $29.60 last week? And then why is silver $32 an ounce? If it's the dollar going down, it would go down for gold and silver. And that shows you it's the demand and it's the price fixing. So expect to get a huge influx in silver, 32 cents. But again, it's the derivatives of the billion banks that are going to explode if it gets over 35, and they're fighting and printing money and doing all these derivatives to try to keep the fire out. And they're keeping it down 31, 32, 33. And it can't last as the demand keeps growing for the silver. When they run out of silver, comex goes away because comex has to cover with physical, which they don't have. So the key to getting rid of comex is getting rid of the physical. Once the physical is gone, and now it's the second, and Russia and China own it all. Now all of a sudden, comex can't price it, and then it gets a real price, which would be 10 times higher. So look for gold to be, at least 10,000. Look for silver. It should be about 2,000. And again, forget this ratio. The ratio is again based on Alyssa setting the price of hamburgers at 10 and French fries at 2. Oh, well, the ratio is 5-1. No, she's price fixing it. It's got nothing to do with the price fit. It's got to do with the market. So what will the market determine gold and silver? And I don't think it's ever been determined. And I don't know that you're going to get 10-1, 20-1, or 30-1. You could get 1-1. What'll eventually, well, you probably won't get 1-1, because if it's an even choice, I would buy gold. So if gold's 10,000 and silver's 10,000, and I got 10,000, I'm buying an ounce of gold. I'm buying the silver because gold's 10,000 and silver's 1,000. Oh, okay, I can afford silver. And that's where it's going to be. But then it's going to be, I can't afford it, but I got to have it. And that's really what's going to happen. So that's going to happen soon. Okay, so I read my depression. Let me go through the baseball one more time. We've got Detroit over 9 for 3 units, Philly over 8 for 3 units, the 49ers, the Mets, Baltimore under 8, Tampa Bay 2 units, Washington over 7.5, the White Sox, Cleveland over 7.5, Pitt under 8.5, Houston 2 units, Arizona over 9, San Diego over 8.5, 3 units, the Cubs, Dodgers over 8.5, 2 units, and Seattle. Those are baseball picks. Pretty hot yesterday, 3 out of 4 on my picks, so I was pretty happy with that. Anything else? Let's just quickly talk about money. Types of money. Money is a medium of exchange. I give you money to buy a hamburger, to buy a mantle car, to buy my Canadian club, as opposed to chickens, roosters, or eggs. So I use this. You're not supposed to print it to death and make it lose its value. This is simply to get goods, you get money, and to buy goods, you get money. That's the whole point of money. This is money. Commodity money, cows and grains, whatever. 2 values, use and exchange. Specie equals gold or silver, and gold coins, or money substitute, which is your checkbook, 2 names on it, your name and the bank's. Money certificate, 100% backed by gold and silver. Fiduciary money is produced by banks. Fiat money is produced by government. Fiduciary money is the most, and that causes the inflation. So the banks are causing the inflation. Prophet, do you emphasize pitching or defense when it comes to capping baseball? Pitching. It's all pitching. I don't even look at defense. You can't hit Sandy Koufax, so I don't care if you have a defense. You can't hit Bob Gibson. You couldn't hit Nolan Ryan. You couldn't hit a lot of these guys. So I don't care about the defense. I do look at the offense. That's how I come up with a little bit with the over-under. But I'm primarily looking at the pitchers' ERAs. But I got to know, are they coming out of the bullpen? Are they just like the one guy today hadn't pitched since last year? Now it's his first start. So forget the 0 ERA. He doesn't really have a 0 ERA. He just hasn't done anything. There's a difference between a 0 ERA and the guy's pitched 5 games and a 0 ERA and the guy hasn't pitched at all. And it's very rarely to see a 0 ERA and a guy who's pitched 5 games. But that's because it's just really if he's a good pitcher, and I got the other team has a bad pitcher, so I'm going to bet the good pitcher over the bad pitcher. When I have 2 good pitchers that are hard to hit, I can score a lot. When I have 2 bad pitchers that are easy to hit, I expect these guys to hit, and there should be a lot of runs. So that's hence like the Cubs over 8.5 against the Dodgers. I know the Dodgers can hit. I know the Cubs can hit, and I know it's in LA where they have very short fences, little league fences. So that's primarily what you're looking at in any time to predict. So if it's a good hitting lineup against weak pitching, then they'll go over. Under 2 good pitchers, Verlander, Scherzer going against each other. Now, Verlander's on the 49ers. He's struggling a little, but he's still going. So I know what he can do. I don't know if he can still do it, but I know what he can do. So in everything, you always want competition over monopoly. And I think the problem with the governments, besides George Soros running everything, is it's all become monopoly run. There's no Democrat, Republican here. It's all done by the lobbyists. And I was watching a Thomas Sowell thing, and the problem with government is the governor, the senator, the politician. His first priority is getting elected. His second priority is getting reelected. And there is no third priority, which means he's not there for you and me. He's not there to make things better. He's not there to clean up anything. He's there to get reelected, and his lobbyists pay him money. So he is there to get his paycheck from the lobbyist. Well, that's a problem because that's not what government is. Government is about you're there for the people. So if I was like Senator Corleone or Governor Corleone, my goal would be to my people who voted for me. Right? It's you voted for me because I said I'm going to lower taxes and put us on the gold standard, and you vote for me. So my goal when I get there is to lower taxes and get a gold standard going. That would be what I ran on for the people. That's what they wanted. Or I would do it even if I didn't get voted, even if the people didn't want it, because that's what's best for the people is a gold standard. But it doesn't work. Everybody's Keynesian, and they want to steal. They're all crooks. So that's the problem what you have here. The government's run by the lobbyists, and the biggest lobbyists are the defense contractors, and hence that's why you have these wars. You're killing millions of people for what purpose? Why is there a Ukraine-Russian war? What are we at war for? Nothing. So Ukraine doesn't join NATO. Jesus Christ, really? If you really think about it, China is really in Mexico and Canada. So really, China is on our borders because they do business with both. And not only that, China's in America. There's a lot of Chinese in American. So that creates, forget Ukraine and NATO being in Russia, you could easily just put NATO people in Russia and they wouldn't have a clue. So that's really what you have. It's a very scary time now because you have these wars. So I talked to Daria about, well, when are we meeting? And she says, I'm scared. And, are you scared of me? Are you scared of airplane flying? Or are you scared of all the wars going on? I says, well, you can't. We've got to meet. What are we doing here? I mean, I can't just text you on WhatsApp every day, and that's not a relationship. So She's just too scared to travel. She's a very scared person. Unfortunately, living in Russia does that to you, I guess. But that's what she's got to deal with. We can't do anything if you don't meet. If you're too scared to meet, what are we supposed to do? So I did ask her what she's scared of, so I'm waiting to get an answer on that. But she'll answer. But otherwise, I just don't see anything, And I told her I was in Europe. I went to Italy in October and Barcelona and Berlin, and I had no problems. Although Berlin, there was a guy shot near the hotel when I was leaving at 5 in the morning to get to the airport. And there was a ring of police, and there was a guy. I guess somebody got killed right near, And I go, I got to get to the airport. I don't care about that. But this is the problem. So all this war, the defense contractors, I think, who's paying for them? If it's the U.S. government, that's us. And maybe that's why Trump's doing the tariffs to get money in to pay the defense contractors. I don't know. Or he wants the war to keep going. He's trying to provoke China into a war. China's broke, as I show you in all these videos. But they got 60,000 tons of gold, and they're going to come out with gold-backed currency. And then guess what happens to the U.S. dollar? It's gone. So this will be very interesting to see what happens. Anyway, anything else? So again, the types of money are gold and silver, what the banks produce, money certificates. Fiduciary money, which is the word of honor, a leap of faith, as I called it. I called it leap of faith, like the Indiana Jones movie. That's the bank credit, and then the fiat money is produced by the government, which we know is absolutely worthless. So that's the three types of money, and this is money. I know Alligator wants to call it, fiat or what you call it, debt money. It's not money, it's debt. No, it's money. It is money. It is a medium of exchange. That's what money is. It's developed because it was easier than carrying around basketballs or golf clubs or golf balls as money. So we need something to price things in, and that's what money is. You can put little numbers on it. But gold's the best because you can't print it. But the governments don't like it because you can't print it. They can't steal. So hard to say, but China will go on a gold standard. So are all the BRICS. It's coming very soon. And just understand that this dollar is printed to death. It has no more value. So don't stay in something that has no value. It's as simple as that. Hence the Titanic analogy. Anyway, I think that's it. Go watch the Masters soon. I'm going to go swim, have some lunch, and Chinese tonight, maybe, possibly. I got a pound of corned beef at the meat store. It's usually more expensive, but it was on sale for $10.99 versus $15. And I thought about it, so I got the corned beef. It's at the deli. It is good. And I got it, and then I thought about it, and chicken was went from $2.99 to $4.99. Oh, chicken's too expensive. But then I did the math, going, wait, it's only $4.99 a pound. You just spent $10.99 a pound on corned beef, so you got 1 pound for $10.99, and the $4.99 chicken breast is still much cheaper than the $10.99 corned beef. So it's funny how we look at things a little bit funny sometimes, but. Anyway, that's what's going on. So no football today. Like I said, Stone Cold in Iraq, and I'm going to watch that. Oh, wait, we haven't done eBay. Let's quickly do eBay. All right, an ounce of gold is a Canadian maple leaf, 34.03. The U.S., 34.69. The Philharmonic, 33.72. Austrian Kangaroo, 33.73. Philharmonic, 33.94. So the US is about 34.50, and the Philharmonic type are like 3,400. 33.90 for an Eagle, 3,400 for that. I love how Bitcoin, this is not a Bitcoin, this is an ounce of gold. Funny how they put Bitcoin as an ounce of gold, and it's only sold with AmpMax, but it's just funny how they try to make Bitcoin gold. Well, isn't Bitcoin a wonderful thing? So I wouldn't own any Bitcoin. Let's see, half ounce. So half ounce is basically 17.25. Here's one for 18, and then here's one Cougaran 17.20, which I consider very low. Yeah, it looks like about 18 something for a half ounce, 17.74, 17.60, so right around there. If you see this, where you see the 17, and then you see this JM Bullion 15.30, he's just fucking with you. Watch, it's going to say sold out. The item's out of stock. This is what they do. So he doesn't take his auction down, but here's the reality. It's 17.80. Whenever you see a price difference run and hide, it's not a good, it's got to be counterfeit. Or in this case, they do it. And you don't want to buy these graded ones. Forget it. They're not worth buying. Because we want an ounce of gold. Let's see what a quarter ounce is going for. 906, about 900, 865 for Cougaran. Here's 976, 909, 933. So you see, Ampex is usually more. So you see a different flavor. This is my point. There's a lot of different markets. 939, 9. So I would call the quarter ounce. You're going to spend like 9.25 on. And then the tenth of an ounce. Tenth of an ounce, 372, 385, 375. I consider that cheap. I would think they'd be about 400. Yeah, 350, 375, 377. So roughly about that. So the ounce is about 3,400. The half ounce about 18 and change. The quarter ounce 9.25 to 950, and the tenth of an ounce 375 to 400. And again, I would just, you have an idea what they should sell. If you see it really cheap, it's somebody trying to scam you. Don't. There's no such thing as cheap gold and silver. If the gold is supposed to be 4,000 or 3,400 an ounce, and you see it for 2,900, run fast. It's bullshit. Why would, if you had it, why would you sell it cheaper? It's gold. It's very limited. It's very highly demanded. Why would I not sell it for the 3,400 everybody else is selling it for? But this is the problem with Alyssa price fixing. Hamburger's $10, and we can see it's really 20, and that's the problem. So when you get to try to get a real price, you're going to get the comex price on eBay, right? They're all, oh, it's 3,400 because that's the spot price is 32.38. So therefore, at 32.38, I'm gonna go and sell it for 3,400. But the real price is 10,000, and this is the point I'm trying to make. It is not. They are using comex prices if it's the real price, and it's price fixed, and this is the problem. Once it breaks, then you'll be able to sell it for 10 grand on eBay, and everybody else won't know what to sell it for. That will be the thing. And then just like the Mano card, you'll have the price set by eBay, which is free market. So this is not on Comex. So if I look at what it's sold for and I see 80,000, I go, oh, it's 80,000. And that's really the key to it. So once you see that, then you have a real price. And that's really what we're struggling for, is to find a real price. But we know it's much higher than the Comex price because they push it down. And in the free market, this never gets pushed down. You never see this for 40 grand. If it's a 9, you see it 80 grand, maybe 75, maybe 95. That's like the Montana rookie. You never see the Montana rookie much under 100,000. Profit. Do you emphasize? Oh, okay. Canadian dollar has moved up 3 points in the past week. Moved up 3 points. I don't know what that means versus the US dollar. Is that what you're telling me? So it was 75 cents. It's not a point. There's no points. It's so what is it against the US dollar? Is that what you're saying? Look at the dollar to the euro, 88. I've never seen it under 90. Oh, wait, we're looking Canadian, then I'm going to look Russian. So it's 139. So what are you saying? I could see it was 142. It's down to 139. And is there a point to this? Do you think the Canadian dollar has any value? Canadian dollar is inflated to zero, just like the US, just like the pound, the euro, everything else. Russia's 83. So you can see everything's gone down a little bit from the US dollar as it collapses. I will send this to Daria. So eBay is the real free market. So if you want a real value on this, is what is somebody willing to buy without being blindfolded by Comex? Comex takes the real value out and gives you the price fixed value. So when you say, oh, gold's at its all-time high, no, it isn't. It's at a price fixed high, but it's not at a physical high. It's not close to the physical high, the real price. So again, if I'm price fixing this at $5,000, but we know it's worth 80, then it's 5,000, 5,100 is the highest it's been. No, it's a real 80,000. So keep that in mind. Anyway, so baseball Masters today. Yeah, in relation to the dollar. It's not, but who cares? It doesn't really mean anything. Unless you're planning on selling them. But the Canadian dollar is crushed worse than ours. It's up there with the British dollar. They're both, the British pound is worthless. All of them are worthless. You just don't know it yet. But I'm telling you, they're all, because as you print them, they have no value. And you keep printing them and printing them and printing them, they have no value. And that's just what happens. So keep that in mind. I think I'm going to have a quick lunch and then I will go to the pool and then watch the Masters. Maybe get Chinese. The reason I get Chinese today is because they're closed tomorrow. So if I want Chinese, I go today, even if I might eat it tomorrow. As you see me eating lunch on Sundays, a lot of it's General Chow. But that's the point. It's that's why I go on Saturdays, but I might not. I don't know. I got to see what's going on with the Masters. Anyway, I do my workout at the pool today. So have a good day, everybody. I will see you tomorrow. I came on and then the internet hit me and I just said, fuck it. And I just canceled out. It hit me the other day and I lost about 10 minutes. And I just hope people aren't getting frustrated as I am. I'm getting frustrated because it depends how far into it I am. Today it was 2 minutes in and it hit. And then I just canceled it, deleted it, and came back in with this. So if you do see these things, it's the internet. I can't control it. And like I say, Prophet, it's not like you're saying, well, hook the line in. Well, right, this one's fine. I had a problem with the one before this, but I got out, I came back. I have not had a problem. So I don't know what it is. I think it's a lot of YouTube, but it really sucks. Anyway, have a good day. www.teaserking.com and enjoy the baseball bets and enjoy the Masters if it's worthwhile. So many bad players in it. All right. Have a nice night, everybody. Take care.